I am so glad to see that Solar Lion is back to posting and his injuries are healing and all of this stuff. I saw a video probably about 15 minutes after he posted it last night about Anunnaki love bites and Tantra and Kundalini, and I mean, that all sounds like legit things. I've heard of this love bite shit before. And yeah, the way he explained it, I mean, it was super informative, and then he pretty much went on to explain, you know, for the men out there pretty much struggling with celibacy and, you know, the fact that obviously semen retention is what you want to be doing, and being cautious of who you're having sex with is what you want to be doing. But it is very, very difficult, and he is the type of guy who has always, his energy to me looks like it is coming from a very clear and very good place. And you know, he's on there talking about how, you know, you could go celibate for the rest of your life and hold that shit in forever, but it's going to come out in your sleep. So he has some suggestions and stuff like that I thought was interesting for anybody out there. And then I found this, and I like this a lot.
Yo, I don't know who needs to hear this message today, but this is a reminder that being a light warrior isn't always about sunshine and rainbows. A lot of people see the name light warrior and automatically assume that it's some spiritual new age terminology around peace, love, and happiness. But the reality is, being a light warrior is about being a shadow warrior, because a light warrior goes into the shadows and shines light in the darkness. And that darkness and that shadow is a representation of your shadow self. Every single one of us has a shadow. We all have a dark side. And that dark side is the part of us that we've suppressed. It's the part of us that we've locked away. It's the part of us that we've shamed and blamed and criticized and judged and hated on. That part of us is our shadow self. And for most of us, we are not willing to look at the shadow self. So being a light warrior is about shining light upon that darkness. It's about confronting that part of you. It's about taking responsibility for that part of you. It's about acknowledging, accepting, forgiving, understanding, loving, healing, and integrating that part of you. Don't be afraid of your shadow. Don't be afraid of your dark side, because you are your dark side. It's important for you to understand yourself, know thyself, heal thyself, and then integrate that part of yourself and watch the way that your life transforms afterwards. Tag someone in this video who needs to hear this message today.
Love it. Literally love it. A lot of that is where recovering drug addicts like me come in, who have been down, out, kicked, everything over and over and over again, to be forced to look at our darkness in order to stop the cycles of repetition. And for as long as people refuse to check out shadow work and stop being scared to get through their shadow, they are never going to be able to stop being their shadow self. Actually, dickheads running around, motherfucking 14-year-old children for no other reason but unchecked spiritual issues. What else do we got here? Oh, I have somebody breaking down my Vedic astrology chart. Now, I have my Western chart, and I have a very knowledgeable person who was broken down, is very good with charts, and has broken down my Vedic chart, which a lot of people are more so into, and more so just about because it focuses more on the moon and things surrounding the moon rather than the sun, and it's all just kind of a big incorporation. I mean, there is no 100% certainty that anything that anybody tries is not going to be laced with some kind of a Metatronic coding, it is entrapment after entrapment out there. And so I really take astrology shit and planetary placements very seriously, with always this isn't 100%. This is a good fucking ballpark. And with this person, I've shared some of the shit, like some of the things that I'd like to see me do one day. And I have ballsy goals, and it sounds wild, but this dude goes breaking down my Vedic astrology, and he's like, yeah, well, I found a lot of shit in here that kind of backs that you would be on such a life path. And I sincerely, so much information off of this Vedic chart. And what else?
I do not believe in fairy tales about chakras or energy or the power of belief. There is no such thing as spirit. We are made of matter and nothing more. You're just another tiny, momentary speck within an indifferent universe.
You think too little of yourself.
Oh, you think you see through me, do you? Well, you don't. But I see through you.
Literally.
What did you just do to me?
They put so much truth in movies. And while I'm on this Doctor Strange shit, I had a buddy throw out there that a lot of times, maybe these movies set you up like how I imagine, like Doctor Strange, like golden circles, because that was, the shit with these movies is that's the closest thing your eyes have seen to the reality of this reality. So your mind kind of pulls these scenes because this is the shit that's going on. But, even that shit can be an encoded entrapment system and shit. Like, the golden flame is 14th dimensional. It is a very, very high place. And, maybe for fallen, like straight up fallen, people coming from a gold flame in general. Maybe that's just a way to entrap them into pulling in from negative seraphi, like Archangel Michael and Raphael, and all of them seem to be. And maybe it's just a matter of replacing that color and manifesting the right color scheme. I don't know, man. It is so much shit. There are so many ups and downs. It really does. It feels like from the moment you spiritually awaken, you are put into a dryer and you are put on high heat tumble forever. It does. It feels like you are inside of a dryer just getting clogged around. Oops, alarm went off and cut my video off, but it does. It feels like you are literally just in a freaking dryer. What is this?
Wow. Isn't this a coincidence? Wow. Isn't this a coincidence?
For anybody who's spiritually awake, the Facebook page Unity of Light has literally some of the funniest spiritual, like this, like some of the funniest shit. It's so fucked up. It's so true. Like videos like that. Videos like, what the hell is this one?
I've seen things you've only seen in your nightmares. Things you can't even imagine. Things you can't even see. I've seen things you've only seen in your nightmares.
Whoever this Wake Up with Ashley is, like, I almost want to make a TikTok or whatever in the hell that this is, so I could go just get on her original shit. Like, that is so funny. And this kid's so interesting. Like, this kid, he looks young, but he's out here bravely for somebody that doesn't appear to have their Christ consciousness all the way turned on, but is very ballsy and trying to spiritually awaken clearly. And this poor Isaac Cappy, man, phew, he got fucked for running his mouth. And
if you know, you know. Telling him to expose another pizza file, if you know what I'm saying. Seth Green.
And Seth turned to me and opened up this secret bookshelf, and he's like, "This is where we keep the children." And I was like, I tried to just put it out of my mind, but then about a month later, Seth, Claire, and I were having a dinner at their house, and Seth said, "We now need to have a talk about chicken." And I was like, oh God. And then he basically admitted that he's a pedophile.
Now I want you to take note on how he said they need to have a talk about chicken when you watch this next video.
Happy to have you here. I don't think we've met before. I was trying to figure that too because I've been such a fan of yours for
So let me just say, he's been a big fan of his, but he doesn't know if they met before. And now watch how they talk about chicken and robot chicken. Watch this shit.
I'm trying to figure that too because I've been such a fan of yours for so long.
And vice versa, I'm a big Robot Chicken fan.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, I've never gotten to do this show, and I just didn't think we'd actually met.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
We might have matched on some dating app at some point.
Could
But I think I
possibly.
just kept swiping.
Could be. I'm always open.
Stephen Colbert, to me, looks like such a piece of shit. I mean, every single time. Every angle I look at him, he is a piece of shit. Just like Jimmy Kimmel and the rest of these late night hosts, really. And politics. I clearly make it very obvious that I cannot fucking stand the political game anymore. Once everybody realizes that this two-party system shit is fucked, not only is it a rigged game, but even if somebody wanted to run for something as an independent, it is so impossible to win as an independent because everybody is so far gone on the left and the right. And of all of the politicians left, at least like American politician-wise, the only one that is left who I think is totally spiritually asleep, but would be willing to understand and would be willing to awaken because she sincerely, to me, seems to care, especially about Maui and Hawaii, is fresh new independent Tulsi Gabbard. As soon as she came out speaking, I think Joe Rogan, about how fucked up the direct energy weapon attack was on Maui, yeah, this fucking probably reptilian, certainly fallen piece of shit agent, Stephen Colbert, calling her a Russian fucking spy because she cares about Hawaii, obviously. And she cares about Maui. And I'm telling you what, these people make me want to flip tables, but then pick them back up and flip them over because of balance. I swear, it's so frustrating. So sometimes it's like, all I can fucking do is just, watch videos of people cleaning and shit, cleaning area rugs, go to my fucking happy place because this shit is so fucking crazy.
Do you know my font?
You like nice things.
Yeah. You know exactly who I am. Do you know my font?
You like nice things.
Yeah. You know exactly who I am.
Fucking hilarious. But, yeah, this is just whatever. I got a lot of good reels saved and, a lot of good shit saved, but I just don't know which ones are which, and I'm just bopping on here faux fun because, who gives a shit?
Architecture changed completely, and it went from designs that complemented the landscape around them to a kind of architecture that clearly hates people, that is designed to oppress the human spirit and make people feel without value, worthless.
Have you heard the
Now, when people like Tucker Carlson start pointing out the fact that we are living in a bunch of square prisons and what happened with the architecture and what happened here, and start bringing up shit like Tartaria, oh, people are starting to wake up regardless.
Tartarian. Have you ever heard of Tartaria? Tartaria. You never heard of Tartaria? Oh, it's like my love this.
Tartarian truth, ancient Tartarian wisdom.
It comes down to this. There's a theory called Tartaria.
Tartaria is real.
Tartarian. The lost civilization of Tartaria.
Tartaria.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
That blew my mind.
What do you think of that building? You'd say that's beautiful because beauty is inherent. Every person recognizes beauty. It's consistent with the symmetry of nature. I thought whoever built that cared about the people. It was built by people who live there for the people who live there, and they loved the people who lived there because they were related to them or knew them. It was built by peasants without machines.
They manipulate our history books. The history books are not true. It's a lie. That's right, Michael. The history books are lying. You need to know that.
Everything is such a fucking lie. I seen something about the Great Wall of China, and about how China just took credit for creating that. And that it looked like the Great Wall of Tartaria to keep them, like, to keep everybody else the fuck out of it. And there's a bunch of stuff about the angles of the walls. And it's like, if the Chinese built a Great Wall of China, why are they sloping in this direction instead of this direction? Like, fascinating shit. I will hit this.
Hey guys, welcome.
This is probably 8 minutes long. I might get through it before my daddy bear gets home, and we got to get running. But Dolores Cannon is too big of a name to ignore things that she says. There are a lot of big name people out here who have too much credibility to ignore them. And I did see somebody on here talking about some great split. Maybe I can find that real quick. Talking about some great 2024 split, like official timeline split and shit. I don't know. It is what it is. Everybody has something else to say about whether or not this shit's gonna, like, how the shit's gonna hit the fan. And this is,
hey guys, welcome back.
Because it's one of those, if something like this happened, like, my goal in life is to never be shocked by anything I see going forward. And I keep stuff like this on the back burner of possibilities pretty much, because nobody knows. Nobody knows what in the fuck is about to happen. But this is very interesting.
Right in. I'm sure after the last video you have a lot of questions. I'm going to continue to explain the New Earth. Jumping back into Convoluted Universe Book 2. The New Earth is another dimension. We will move into a new dimension. In the last part we talked about if you are on Earth at this time, which clearly you are if you're watching this video, that your soul chose to be here at this time to be a part of this shift. This evolution of the planet into a new dimension, into a higher consciousness. Those who are working for the Earth, for the universe, will be provided for and will continue to be. What you need will come to you. So it's time to let go of the ethic of working to get money. You are working to change the Earth. Your work must come from love and service, not from greed. In Convoluted Universe, they talk about the two types of ways that the Earth can shift. The crust could shift, and then you would start from ground zero. That's what killed off the Ice Age and killed the dinosaur. Then there's times that there's been dimensional shifts. They say that Atlantis and Lemuria experienced dimensional shift. There are groups that have done this before, including the Mayans, why they just happened to disappear, and other civilizations that are surrounded with mystery.
And it's like everything you listen to, you just have to kind of edit, cut, copy, edit. Like, you have to be able to listen to other people's full messages while understanding that, like, so far already, it's just like, there are minor things that ping to me as, that doesn't sound exactly Right. But it's the message in its entirety, and if this is a possibility, this is part of the reason I'm fucking panicking.
That simply disappeared, leaving no clues of what happened to their civilization. They raised themselves to a certain frequency, and their consciousness expanded, and we were not able to perceive them in our reality anymore. Those who had raised their frequency and vibration would ascend into a new Earth, as it evolved and lifted into a new dimension, thus becoming invisible to those left behind. This goes into the theory of parallel universes. Dolores gives a very simple explanation. Anytime an individual has to make a decision, this is called coming to a crossroad. They will decide to go one way or another, whether to get married, whether to get divorced, whether to start a job, whether to leave their job. When you put thought into making a decision, you give energy to both realities. When you make the choice to go down the path of one reality, that becomes the world that you perceive. However, all the energy that you put towards the other decision, that energy is not going to be destroyed because you didn't walk that path. So that energy continues to become a reality. He says this is a simple explanation, but it doesn't only happen with major decision. Another version of you always splits off and plays a different part. Our human minds will never be able to handle it all. And it says, the way that we're not able to perceive the other versions of ourselves, say you quit your job. There's another version of you that's still working at that job and didn't quit. You're living your life without that job, but another aspect of yourself still exists at that job that you wanted to quit. But you're never going to be able to perceive the reality that you didn't quit that job. And that's what would happen with the new Earth on a grander scale. The people on the two Earths would be unaware of each other. And we're going to get into this, all of the chaos.
This looks like something like this is already happening. Like the people running on the Christ conscious, not fallen New Earth timeline are fucking invisible. Like they are becoming invisible to their neighbors. They aren't running into each other anymore out in the stores. You know, when they call doctors and shit looking for help, they're getting ignored. Because the vast majority of people, if there is a split and a separation happening right now, which it feels like there is, this is what it looks like. Like
and turmoil that is coming. But here it says that the people who came to Earth at this time need to stay grounded and tranquil for others. This is why a lot of the older souls who are here to work on this Earth shift experienced childhood trauma and abuse so that they would be able to be a pillar for others during a time of chaos. Those who are here now need to remember the important role they are playing. Sorry, I'm not done explaining the new Earth yet. Once again, Dolores quotes the Bible. There will be two men in bed. One will be taken, the other will be left. Two women will be grinding together, and one will be taken, one will be left. It is still up to us to decide which Earth we will gravitate towards because of our free will. Since this has never happened before, is why it is the greatest show in the universe, and everyone from many different galaxies and dimensions are watching to see what will happen. Once again, we keep bringing up how the people who are here on Earth at this time chose to be a part of this. It's time for them to show up and be aware that they are being called to be present and ready. There might be situations where the soul has a crucial point where they decide where they want to go vibrationally. Their spiritual growth may be a gray area where they may qualify to step up into a higher vibration, only if they have the courage to jump. Or they might choose not to, and that will be their choice. But your role is to keep your energy, because it may be crucial for someone in that situation. You may be the hand that extends for them to jump. Now, this session takes place in around 2001, 2002, where this information came through. And it says, it is just beginning, but the chaos has not begun. The chaos is going to come when the people's illusions have been shattered. Some of those things will be caused by natural disasters. Some will be caused by those in power who are making every effort to keep things the way they are. It's like a child who doesn't want to hear the truth. They refuse to admit that they are no longer in charge. They feel they will be able to stop this by maintaining people in a low vibration, by keeping fear on the surface. Fear is the way they've maintained power, and almost everyone in this world is in fear. On the surface, they are showing us fear, but it is dissipating despite what we see. This process that's happening, this Earth shift, this new Earth, this dimensional shift, those in power are very aware of. They want to slow it down. They think there might be a way to prevent it. So they will push and push every extreme that they can to make things very difficult. And like I said, because this is from 2001, 2002, she asks about the war. You know, the war we're still in 20 years later. She says, is the war one of the things? Says, yeah, the war, but also the diseases that they will scare people with. Dolores says, are the diseases not really there? Of course they can be there if people allow those energies into their body. For the most part, there are only energetic fields. But like anything else that is talked about or thought about, it can become reality in your physical. The diseases are extremely blown out of proportion. And epidemics are not what they are portrayed to be. The media and movies show you desperation that they insist on presenting to the masses, subjects as murder, death, and betrayal, to keep consciousness focused on fear. They will use the diseases to give people a reason to stay afraid and not unify, and to trust that the government will help save their problems. On a subconscious level, they are awakening, and the powers know this. They are presenting the masses with the opportunity to choose. Don't get caught up in what's going to happen. You've got to focus on the light. That will be the challenge for the people going to the new earth. That fear and sadness can pull them back down to the third. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about everyone that's left behind? What about all the other people? More information from the convoluted book series. Laura says, I was told that some will be left behind. I thought that sounded cruel. It's not cruel because each soul is given the choice. And if they are not moving and evolving, it's because they have chosen not to. It says it's all right because it's only a game. It doesn't matter what happens because it's all a game. It's all a play. And the things that are happening for a reason. And that reason is to test each human being to find out where they are in their own soul's evolution. If we hold peace and light in the body, Dolores says there's so many people that aren't going to understand what's happening. She says she doesn't want to call them ordinary, and it says they are not ordinary. They only seem ordinary. It's a mask that they are wearing, but they are changing. Yes, some will choose to not awaken, and that is their choice, and we have to respect it. They have been given the same choice as every other soul, and that's okay. It will be fine. The more people that awaken will take this journey, and the more there will be in the new earth. And that's why so many of you are doing this work at this time. Everyone you speak to, you are doing the work. It says you may not be aware, but you are acting like Christ. Everyone you speak to becomes a disciple, and they go out and in turn awaken other people. It is working, and it's all happening soon. They say that your body is your own universe. If every person creates peace and harmony in their own universe, then that's the universe they will create in the fifth dimensional earth. Imagine your thoughts becoming energy. The more energy you give it, the stronger it becomes. It says when you send out this energy, it manifests and becomes real. It becomes physical. If you send out that there's going to be peace, then peace will follow. But if you continue to say, oh, but the war is getting worse and those politicians are making a big mistake, because then you are creating that reality. And this is why everything in the world is so negative and divisive right now. Because the true people in power realize that we as humans are creator beings. Our thoughts, our word is what shapes the reality around us. So that's why they continue to show us the negative images. They continue to show us that the world is getting worse and worse. This is why they show all of these movies of the apocalypse being destruction. They don't show the movies that the apocalypse means the unveiling of information, which is what it actually is. They show us all the death and the destruction so that becomes our thoughts. That's what we talk about. And then that's how we create that timeline. So instead of going on to the New Earth timeline, we go on to the New World Order timeline. It's the New Earth, New Jerusalem, whatever different religions call it. Everyone kind of talks about this. And then there's a New World Order timeline. If you can create a new reality by coming to peace and harmony inside of your body, then why is there all this information about how sick and weak our bodies are? So that we have disharmony in our universe, and then we create a disharmonic world. And we go back to the idea that light is information, and darkness is the lack of information. This explains the censorship of any information outside the mainstream narrative.
Fascinating. Now, where I'm coming from is the type of family who is so full of love that pretty much every individual in my family has always wanted to be the first ones to die so that they selfishly did not have to deal with the pain of any other major players in the family being killed off first. And if the shit were going to hit the fan, and with all of these timeline splits and shit like that, I am the only person in my family who would make the jump and be able to continue on the new earth path. And unfortunately, I will kick and scream to help wake up others. I don't care by the means that I have to. If I have to be a bitch and scream out for other people to help, so that hopefully one day other people can help me wake up the rest of my family, then that's just what I'm gonna have to do. Because if the shit were to hit the fan and it came time for me where it was all right, ship sailing, jump on, or stay here with the rest of your family who's gonna sink, I'm not going anywhere. I would choose to stay in whatever post-apocalyptic shithole timeline world my family was stuck in. And the thing is my family has been alerted. And they are, not all of them, but the ones who have been alerted are fucking ignoring me. And it's the people in the middle out there who could hear this information at all and choose to go down these paths. The fucking news is keeping people so blind that people do not even realize these conversations are happening. And I could just flip tables and pick them back up over how frustrating it is. And it's getting long, doodles.